If you have watched my most recent video, you know that I interviewed teens on what they think about going back to school amid COVID-19. And I said there will be a part 2. And this is that part 2. So don't go anywhere because that's what's today on Tariq's Take.
So, Amelie, what do you generally think about going back to school? What are your feelings? What are your
Um,
thoughts?
I don't like online school because I am really bad at keeping up with it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of missing work.
Mm-hmm.
I miss my friends and seeing people. I don't really see people that often
Mm-hmm.
because my mom doesn't want me to like go out to like see my friends and stuff. So I barely see any of my friends, and like I I've been excited for high school for like since I was like probably 8. I've been wanting to go to high school. And now that I'm going to high school, it's not going to be normal, and like it's going to be like we go to school 3 times a week instead of like every day. I don't know. But
Yes, so I'm glad that you mentioned that because this disastrous disease, this it has
I'm sorry.
altered our way of life for so long. And it's really unfortunate because everything's going to be different. Everything's different in all types of ways and shades
Mhm.
of ways. So, since you don't like online school and want to go to school, first, what do you think about all the procedures that are going to have to happen in order just to go to school, like temperature checks or etc.?
I don't really like wearing a mask. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. It's like very, very uncomfortable. It's hot and like it covers my face. Like it would be kind of weird seeing everybody in the school with a mask on. Like I don't know because every time I go out until now, since it's like a law or whatever to wear a mask or whatever, not a law, but like whatever. Um, I wasn't wearing a mask the whole time, pretty much until now. And I don't like it very much because I don't like breathing in my own air. I don't know. It's weird. Um, I bet a lot of people can agree with me on that because I would imagine nobody really likes wearing a mask. If you like wearing a mask, then you're kind of weird, but I mean, you do you, I guess.
Nobody likes to have an excess thing attached to their body,
Hmm.
but it's necessary to slow the spread of this disease.
Yes, but okay, yeah, I know. But we still have to go to school. Like, we're still going to school. Like, we're not going to still get COVID. Like, we're still going to get COVID. We're still in a room with hundreds of people. I mean, I can't imagine there's going to be like 20 people at school. There's going to be hundreds. There's 4 years in high school. So, like, there's going to be a lot of people. And I can't imagine that,
Yeah,
like, the seniors and stuff, they're going to miss out on so much good stuff because they have to
yeah.
wear their masks and, like, they probably won't have prom and stuff.
Do you have any concern for the teachers? What's your opinion for the teachers having to worry about who's got their mask on and who's social distancing and
Yeah.
et cetera, while having to teach at the same time?
Like, if someone doesn't come to school with a mask, you're going to get in, like, huge trouble, too, probably, because it's, like, mandatory now. The teachers, the stress they probably have to go through because of this is probably a lot, like, it's probably a lot more overwhelming than us because really they're only letting us go to school probably because we need to like be socialize. Because I don't see a point because we've been having online school like the end of the year. I mean, I don't want to go to online school the whole week, but or the whole year, but I don't know why they wouldn't just do that if they're so worried about COVID. You know what I mean?
You were going to do color guard, right?
Yes.
So How do you feel so you do color guard, right?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about the fact that you're gonna have to do color guard with a mask and have to social distance and etc.?
It's gonna be hard because we're gonna be doing like physical activity, and having a mask on while doing physical activity is gonna make it so uncomfortable, and it's gonna make it so much worse. Like, I feel like I would be so uncomfortable, and everybody in color guard would probably be uncomfortable because of it. Because it's like when you do physical activity, right? You breathe in and out and you sweat, like usually. And having a mask on during that is like just the worst thing you can do.
How do you feel about things like lunch?
I don't understand how we're
Exactly.
gonna have to have a mask on
Exactly.
during lunch. How are you supposed to eat? Put it under your mouth?
Exactly.
But like, what?
Exactly.
That makes no sense to me at all. Because there's no point. Because you're gonna take it off or like move it.
Another wording, how do you feel that we're not going to be able to be that social during lunch?
I'm not really social during lunch anyway. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really like talking while eating.
So, when do you feel is a appropriate time to fully reopen? How long do you think it's going to be?
A whole year. Well, I don't think they're gonna reopen this year, like fully. I don't believe that. I think probably next year, like after this year, like when we're sophomores. I think then that's the right time to reopen because I know a lot of people aren't going to want their kids going to school. I think it should be an option
Mhm.
to go to school or not.
Piggybacking off of that, in South Carolina, Governor McMaster announced that he was going to give parents the option to send their kids back to school or not. So, do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, because I know my parents will let me go to school.
So, do you think North Carolina should do something like that?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I believe that that should be an option. Yeah, this is Noah.
So, kids, children and teenagers, some kids are not going to be willing to wear masks all day and they're going to be playing with it during class.
You're right. Noah, I think Noah, my little brother, would probably take it off. I know him, and he would definitely take it off.
A lot of kids K through 5 would do that.
Yeah,
Um,
I would too if I was younger. Of course, I would.
and un- unfortunately, kids K through 5 are the ones who need to be in in-person learning, really to
You're right.
focus.
Yeah, they can't be on the computer.
So yeah,
Really.
so it's unfortunate that they're the ones going to be having to go back to school the most, but they're going to be the ones who really don't understand why they have to do the things they do and will fiddle with their mask.
You're right, and I think that the the teachers really have to enforce that the kids do have to wear the mask because I don't want my little brother getting the virus, and I don't want him to not learn school because we can't homeschool him. My parents have work every day, pretty much. We can't homeschool him. I can't homeschool him. He needs in school learning.
Great points. Great points. What do you feel about children going to school and then maybe picking up the virus and then maybe taking it home?
Well,
to
okay,
their family, who may be at higher risk.
my mom is she has really bad asthma. So if she were to get COVID, I think that would be very like dangerous to her life.
What do you think about children coming home to the virus and going out in public to the virus and then bringing it to school?
Well, obviously, if we had the virus and if we knew we had the virus, he wouldn't go to school. We would be in quarantine for 2 days. I mean, sorry, 2 weeks. Stop. I'm sorry. Yeah, we would be in quarantine for 2 weeks. I wouldn't go to school. He wouldn't go to school. My sister wouldn't go to school. My other sister wouldn't go to school. My parents wouldn't go to work.
Yes, and I know there are going to be some parents who are going to force their kids to go to school when they know they have the virus, and that's not an okay
That's
move.
not okay. But my family would never do something like that, and we are very cautious
Hmm.
about things like that. So we're not going to be part of the problem. But I understand that people are going to still go to school with the virus, and even I would still go to school with the virus if I didn't know I had it, because I think it takes like 2 weeks to show up or something, or a couple days. Not 2 weeks. It's a couple days or a week or something. I don't know. Um,
That's going to be a lot of people who are asymptomatic and they unwillingly help the spread of the virus. So that's going to be unfortunate.
because I understand there are some people that do need to go to school every day, like people with learning disabilities and stuff, and
Mm,
and like um physical disabilities, and well, not really physical disabilities, but like just stuff like that. I think that they need to be going to school every day, and that should be a choice with the parents. That's why I think that that our parents should have a choice if we go to school or not, because there are people who need to go to school and need to learn by being like physically at school. Because I know, like my parents, if I had a learning disability, they have work every day. They couldn't homeschool me, and they couldn't help me with stuff because we can't afford for one of my parents to stay home every day. So I would need to go to school every day.
and the special needs kids who need that extra attention, and the people who also have learning disabilities, school is a vital place for them to be able to learn. And it's just unfortunate that this virus has brought a situation where it's not easy for that. Um,
Yeah.
Before I've seen inside their classes, so I know what it's like, and it's more hands on with those students. They do have learning disabilities, um, and need extra attention. So it will be difficult to social distance in that
Mm-hmm.
type of environment. It'll be difficult for them to learn, period.
Yeah.
And for the teachers to teach, because it's more of a hands-on, up close kind of environment for them.
Yeah, I think that Cabarrus County should allow at least people with learning disabilities to go to school every day. Well, also, I would like for people like me without learning disabilities and anything like that to go to school every day. But obviously, that if that can't be a thing, I want at least the people who have a hard time learning to go to school.
Okay, so what do you think about the virtual academy given by Cabarrus County available this
Um,
year?
I feel like a lot of the students will not do great this year. I know some people who haven't even logged in to like their like accounts for online school last year. Like just didn't do anything. And my mom told me that the school told her like 60% of students actually logged in.
Yes, and I'm glad that you brought that up. I hadn't even thought about that
Yeah.
because there are students who don't do the online work. That's another factor to think about. That's why we do need school, because at least people can get the education. I mean,
I could see a lot of people dropping out though because
yeah, and
it's very
and
stressful.
and yeah, when people don't just really like school, they're not gonna do the online
This
work.
makes it a lot worse. Personally, on me, doing online school is a lot worse than going to school
Yeah.
because I can procrastinate a lot easier if I'm at home.
Okay, since you are not 100% in favor of online school and can procrastinate, what is a way that you think teachers can make online school better?
I don't see how they can make it better.
Mm,
Like I don't see what they could do that they haven't already done. You know what I mean? I guess Zoom calls because we never really did that.
Since you don't really like online learning and you can't really think of a way to make it better, because you don't know what teachers haven't already done. In your mind, what is a scenario that can be safe in the classroom?
I guess less people in the classroom. Um,
Mm,
6 feet apart. I guess. I don't see how we can do 6 feet apart, but not close. Not like a table that we usually have where there's like 4 people like in a desk. I don't think that would be okay. Just a smaller amount of people in each class. Probably a lot of hand sanitizer in every class. I don't like wearing a mask, but I think that's gonna be what we're gonna have to do. If we went to school every day, I would wear a mask. I I like going to school. Look, well, not usually, but I do want to go to school now because I haven't been in a school environment near a lot of people in a very long time, a couple months.
do you have any last things you want to say? Anything you want to wrap up with?
I don't think it's going to be a good year.
Yeah, especially since your perspective, you don't like online school, but you don't like the restrictions that's going to be at school. So that's a really good perspective to have. So, applause for Amelie.
And now I'm amazing.
Hello, I'm Alex Garman. Thank you for having me on your YouTube video.
Yes, you're welcome. An honor. What do you think about going back to school in general, like overall?
Well, I think that I really want to go back to school because I miss my friends and stuff. But at the same time, I don't think it's the greatest idea because a lot of people are going to get sick and a lot of people are going to completely ignore what you're supposed to do and like the regulations, and they're just going to hang out with their friends and like be really close and probably like take off their masks when the teachers aren't looking. So you're going to have to like keep watching the students to make sure they don't like take off their mask and stuff, and make sure they're being safe because I bet a lot of people aren't going to follow the rules.
How do you feel about just like everything we're gonna have to do to go back to school, like temperature checks and wearing masks and stuff like that?
I think I think they should do a temperature check like every day, and they should like have hand sanitizer throughout the school, and like have a lot of hand sanitizer everywhere, and like every time you enter like the classroom, you should have to put on like more and more hand sanitizer.
You kind of answered this, but how do you feel about wearing a mask all day?
Here's the thing. I think that everybody should have their mask on at all times because we can't do things like go to school if we're not being safe because the cases are just going to continue to rise and rise. Because the coronavirus is just going to continue to be spread if we don't take action and be safe about it. So I really do think that you should be wearing your mask. But for me, I last semester like weightlifting, so it's gonna be hard to like work
Mm.
and stuff with that mask on. Because I bet for some people it'll be hard to breathe, but you should get over it and wear your mask.
So, what do you think about, well, particularly K through 5 students, and generally all students, because some will do this, but particularly K through 5. So, what do you think about them, or just people in general, wanting to play with their mask at school and
I
not
think
take it seriously?
I think that well, I think that little kids like I don't think they're like mature enough to even keep the mask on and not run around and like you're in kindergarten, you don't even understand what's going on right now, I bet, for some people. And kindergartners, I think that they're gonna be really like running around hyper and like maybe harder for them to like understand to keep their mask on at all times. They may have difficulties like understanding that they need to keep their mask on. So I think that they should be more online than if you're in like high school.
How do you feel about social life, and like not being able to be so social?
Guess you're just gonna have to get over it right now for the time being because it's gonna be hard not to hang out with my friends after like not after being so lonely after a certain period of time during quarantine and like not seeing anybody or interacting with anybody. It's gonna be hard not to go up to your friends and be like, "Hey, what's up?" and like so. But I think you should just deal with it because school is mainly for learning anyways. So, but it's just for the time being. Like at a certain period of like time after all this is over, you're gonna be able to do all that. So right now we just gotta stay strong and try to keep the numbers down, I guess, of the coronavirus cases.
Do you concern for teachers that they will have to make sure the class has masks on and is being safe while having to do the regular duties of a teacher, like teach and
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the teachers are really gonna have to be careful with students because a lot of teachers, like older ones, are really high risks, and I bet are really worried about the classrooms because some teachers are not trying to be rude, but really old and like are gonna have to be careful around kids, especially K through 12 and like kindergartners and little kids because they're not gonna be as careful, so they're gonna have to be really distant.
one of the biggest things is the teachers because they are basically putting their life on the line to do their job. And have you heard in the news that teachers are signing their wills? Yeah, signing their wills.
That sounds pretty crazy. Yeah, we really are gonna have to be careful.
And that's terrible that they have to think like that. Their
Yeah, it
job.
is scary
That's
for them.
terrible that they have to think that.
I think that they should be careful and not even like they should probably have another person teach if they're really high risks. To be honest.
How do you feel about students that might catch the virus outside of school and then bring it to school?
Yeah, it's gonna be hard because so many people are gonna be like hanging out with their friends, and then they're gonna go to school and have corona, and then cases are gonna spike up. Yeah, they just gotta hope that doesn't happen, and be really careful who you're around, and try to always keep that 6 feet distance, or you could potentially put yourself in a dangerous situation where you could contract the virus. And so I think everybody's gonna have to be careful and do their part not to like hang around people and you should always like they're gonna do like temperature checks. I hope to make sure
Yeah.
that if you have a fever, you should not be coming to school and go home right away.
How do you feel about students that might catch the virus at school, then bring it home to their parents who may be higher risk?
Yeah, I don't really know what to say about that because it goes either way. Just gonna have to be careful, I guess. It's risky going back to school.
So, did you like online learning?
No, I hated it. It brought my grades up a lot, but I could not have hated it more. Yeah, I just didn't like it. I wasn't a fan. Just I don't know. Wasn't for me, I guess you could say. But I just couldn't focus. Well, like my thing is when I go home, for me is a place away from school, away from learning. So it's hard for me to like get my work done and like not get distracted from all the at home things. You know what I mean?
School is one of the most vital places that you need to be to learn. So it's just really unfortunate that we had to think about going back to school this way. Since you don't like it or didn't like it, what do you think the teachers can do, this county can do to make online school better?
I mean, I don't know what to say to that. It's a hard topic.
Yeah, it is hard because there's not much. There's not much because students may sit through a Zoom call and not learn a single thing.
Yeah,
Students
it's
may
hands on, I guess you could say. Well, one thing the teachers could do is like when at least like my teachers did this in 8th grade, they didn't even put the lesson like they had a lesson and it was another teacher's video, so they didn't even make like their own video, and it was like of a thing that we're not even like learning.
that there's not much wiggle room for that because the teachers have lives too.
Yeah, teachers have to take care of their kids online schooling.
So how do you feel about the kids? You may know some. How do you feel about the kids who did not log on once to do their schoolwork in the spring?
I don't care at all. I think those type of kids aren't going. They don't have a future. Those type of kids. Hey, it's your fault. I don't care. Like I'm focused on myself. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to succeed for my family. I'm trying to put food on the table for my kids, and kids like that, stay out of my way. That's all I gotta say. I'm headed for a path for success.
Mm,
Stay out of my way,
mm, mm.
and I think they should stay on top of
Yes.
their schoolwork more. I get it. Some kids just don't care. They're like, screw it. What are they gonna do? That type of mindset's not gonna take you anywhere in life.
Great answer. Great answer. Great answer. How do you feel about little kids when it comes to online work who can't necessarily sit at a desk all day and
Well,
need more hands on?
I think that their parents should try to help them with that, and I don't know. That's some kids are just gonna struggle with that and need some extra help from their parents. And I think their parents need to help them, and teachers need to try to make it easier for them to learn on like online things. They need to try to incorporate a way for them to. Some kids like can't sit at a desk and they can't hold still, and like what I was saying earlier, it's hard for me to focus at like home. I bet it's like that for like a lot of little kids, like worse because when they go to school, they're like, oh, okay, well, school's a place for learning, for this type of stuff. But when I'm home, all these distractions, all these little things that probably makes it really hard for them. And some kids probably rush and don't do as well. So teachers and parents are probably going to have to help their kids a lot through all this online work and schooling.
When do you think it's appropriate to go back to school?
It's hard to say. I think that they should try and open up schools like normal time, but if not normal time, probably a little delayed just to let things calm down a little. You know what I mean? Try to let the cases dim down, or at least maybe they'll come up with something to help kids not or everybody be more safer and like a vaccination or something like that.
Okay, I wanted to go back to this question. Do you have any more to say about sports and like what that would be like? How do you feel about that?
Well, I think sports, it depends on the sport. So football, it's a really contact based sport. A lot of pushing, shoving, and they're really close and breathing all up on each other, sweating, and so I think they should wait a year to do football, just because a lot of kids are gonna go to school after they just went to football practice every day. If they're doing football normally, like the games and things, it's probably not gonna be the safest because a lot of touching and it's football. I mean, but I bet for practices if they just do practices during the football season, I bet that they could like keep it more social distance and not like contact during the practices. I bet that would be smarter. And for other sports like basketball, they just should try to keep it 6 feet if they do sports. I don't know. I think they should wait till second semester and see if things have dimmed down a little before they do sports yet.
It's just a lot to think about. So unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
Do you have any last comments?
Hope everybody stays safe out there and just be careful.